All right, the ICE shooting of a woman has people protesting across the country. The shooting happened in Minneapolis, and people are incredibly emotional about it, as you may have seen online. Now, here's where people agree, is that a woman named Renee Good was allegedly protesting ICE raids with her partner when agents ordered her out of the vehicle, and instead of complying, she attempted to drive away. An ICE agent fires at close range, and she dies later from those gunshots. From there, the narrative split instantly. On the right, their claims are that she was resisting law enforcement and he was threatened, and that's why he had to respond accordingly. The left says there was no immediate threat, and they portray her as a legal observer who was just documenting the raid. President Trump made a statement saying that he had viewed the clip, and his view was aligned with the right, you would imagine. The whole "I viewed the clip" thing really raised my spidey sense. That's weird. You would think that a president has more available than just what we see online. Go ahead, David.
Well, I just wanted to point out, it's not just the left that's saying that. A lot on the right are in agreement with a lot of the left.
Yes, so I am pointing out the partisan divides right now. But you're right. There is sort of a dogpiling on the right of anyone who doesn't say this. And we should discuss that, too. Our opinion is that our opinion won't matter. We learned from George Floyd we should not run our mouth before we have all the facts. We have two videos from two angles. The ICE officers most likely have body cams. There are many people filming, so we should have more. And this needs to go to trial, quite clearly. So instead of screaming an opinion, we're going to let Lionel from the Lionel Nation YouTube channel do the screaming. He's better at that. And he has an educated opinion because he is a former prosecutor and a litigator. He can bring in on what's allowed and what's not. So, Lionel, are you ready?
And he's a constitutional attorney. I mean, the guy knows more about the Constitution than just about anybody. So
yeah. So, okay, people are saying online, this is one of the main narratives I wanted to ask you, that, you don't have to get out of your car when ICE approaches you. They didn't have jurisdiction. They can't order you. Is that true?
No.
Oh, you're laughing. Okay.
No, it's insane. This ICE agent is completely 100% off the hook. He did absolutely nothing wrong. And there were two bases for this. First of all, I love the way lay people start opining. They just start saying, well, I think that he should. No. First question is, what does the law say? I don't care about your opinion. Two statutes. Title 18, Section 111. You are interfering with a federal officer. By the way, they've got cases where somebody one time shook a fist at a probation officer, and that was considered violating the rule. What this woman did, as sad as it is, nobody likes to see anybody killed or die for any reason, basically took on a federal agent in violation of the federal statute. Period. End of discussion. Nothing. There's no, well, maybe she didn't maybe she was trying to get away. Get away. Criminals get away. It's called flight. I love when they say that. Well, she was just trying to get away. Like an escape. What are you talking, like OJ in the slow speed chase? What are you talking about trying to get away? That's number one. Here's the best one. A Supreme Court case, all of you constitutional scholars.
Well, hold on, Lionel. You said a criminal trying to get away. I just want to be clear on that. So like
she's
OJ.
A criminal.
So how do we know? Just I'm asking as a dumb person. How is she a criminal?
Because she's violating, she's threatening or assaulting a federal authority, a federal officer. I don't care why. If it's a protest or whatever, she is there doing this stuff, and people will be able to talk about her behavior during the day. She was there to obstruct and oppose federal authority. She is a criminal. Period. She broke the law. You don't do that. People think, I don't know what they think ICE agents are. Let's say FBI, ATF, same thing. I don't know where people get off by virtue of minimizing their impact. She was a criminal. She broke the law. Now you can say, well, no, she was protesting. Fine. She was a protesting criminal. I'm not saying this because I'm happy. She broke the law. And let me tell you, too, if you go up to anybody, a federal officer in particular, anybody in the entire gamut of the federal family of officers, and you obstruct, oppose, threaten, you don't even have to touch them. Now, you can talk about the angles. Listen, enjoy yourself with these Zapruder angle film. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But here's the best one. This is the best one. Tennessee against Gardner, Supreme Court case, 1985. A federal officer or police officer can use deadly force to stop somebody who was in the middle of or was in the process of committing a violent felony and is about to go off and do what? Where was she going to go next with her truck? Where was she going to go next? What was she doing? I love the way they're asking. Well, she wasn't clearly anything. So not only was it legal for them to use deadly force against her for attacking these officers, they could have used deadly force to stop her from advancing and posing a real threat to others. Now, let me explain something to you. And I don't mean to talk to you like that because you're my friends, but to the rest of the world, let me explain something to you. When I see these videos and they slow them down, Clayton, do you ever see these self-defense things on YouTube? Here's how you stop. I can fight anybody if I can go like that, but
right.
Life's not like that. These 3 shots were like in a millisecond. And they said, why did he shoot so much?
Yes, excessive force. That's what people are saying.
It better be excessive. You have to use deadly force. You have to empty. I'm surprised he only did that. But anyway, so on 2 separate occasions, the law clearly is in favor or benefits this officer or supports this ICE agent. They are not going to be charged by the federal government. They are not going to be charged by the DOJ. And Minnesota is not going to do it either. And if they try to, the federal government will come in and remove the case. This ain't George Floyd. This is not somebody with that, and we can argue that, with a neck, the leg on the neck. This was absolutely tragic. This is a lesson. If you get anywhere near an ICE officer, an armed officer who tells you to stop, and you are in a deadly missile, and you're driving away, that officer does not have the ability to say, is she merely trying to get away? Am I scaring her? No, it doesn't matter. All bets are off. You have just entered an arena you never thought you'd get into because for some reason, my dear friends, a lot of these twits think that just because they get a hair up their arse and they're going to go out there to protest, that somehow they are imbued and protected with this cloak and Kevlar of First Amendment protection. Get out of here. It's simple. He is free. Nothing's going to happen to him. Watch all the tapes you want, all the videos. It doesn't matter.
So, I guess
it bothers you.
Well, of course, it's bothering everybody, right? But I don't have an informed opinion about what was. Yeah, and I can't say people are saying she meant to hit him. You can say, how do I know what she meant or he meant to kill her? No, nobody knows someone else's intentions. That's impossible unless you're a psychic.
What bothers you?
Well, was there any other way to not have killed her? I guess
but for her not to go there. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
When you enter the fray, if Clayton and I decide to rob a bank and I go in there and I say, all right, give me the money. And all of a sudden somebody shoots Clayton. The bank guard, they charge me with felony murder. Was that necessary? Who cares? I'm putting myself in this world right now. Once you walk into it, get ready. Pick the hill you want to die on, because you don't know what's going to happen. Let me explain this, not to you, my dear friends, but to the rest of these stupid people out there. If you're driving, you say, hey, let's go where those heavily armed ICE agents are. Right off the bat. Okay. Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Yes, because we're upset with this, because apparently okay, fine, terrific. Some protests, terrific, are great. First Amendment, all you want. But with a truck,
Well,
sorry.
And we're learning also she's not from there, from Colorado. So driving there with the intention of going and seeking out ICE agents in order to disrupt their operations.
Now, right. Let's do a couple of things. I am an expert. My favorite thing, I love to watch YouTube videos of Karens getting arrested on and pulled out of the car.
That's one of Lionel's hobbies. That's one of my favorite hobbies as well. You and I should have a Karen party and watch them.
You and I can do it. We'll have a drinking game. Let me see your supervisor. I'm traveling. I'm not driving. All that sovereign citizen. Oh, I love that stuff. But anyway, here's the difference. Let's say little Natalie's driving her home, and all of a sudden she's pulled over, and it's a country road somewhere in Colorado. She's by herself. And when the officer goes back to his car to do it, Natalie takes off. And the police officer goes after her, pulls her over, and shoots her. No. No. She drove away, but there was no threat. That's kind of, Natalie, what I think you're talking about, which didn't exist here. But if all of a sudden Natalie starts getting her car and she starts going like this and she bumps in or brushes against one police officer and there's a crowd of people and she takes off then, fleeing felon rule, which is what it used to be called, they can open fire on you because you now pose a threat. You have evinced a depravity and a disregard for the safety of others. You've got to be stopped. Listen, this is tough. And also, one last thing. There is the standard of care that police officers have and the way they handle things and the use of force. Then there's the federal, and they're almost quasi-military. These people are not Barney and Andy. This is not that way at all. These are a different group of people. They are brought in as federalized agents, quasi-military. Posse comitatus, this is not, these aren't, ICE is not the cop that says you have the right to remain silent and asking questions. They're there almost to stop this thing.
Can I ask you?
Almost quasi. It's a different standard.
Can I ask you about what the mayor is saying? Of course, the mayor. We were joking earlier. This guy is like a little mini
Gavin Newsom.
Mini Gavin Newsom, maybe like a little less greasy. I don't know. The mayor who says we're going to prosecute this. We're going after ICE.
No.
What's going to happen legally from the mayor's perspective?
Nothing. This is the supremacy cause. You can't prosecute them. No, this isn't George Floyd. This isn't any of this. This was a different story. These were people who basically confronted. Remember, just so people understand, George Floyd was an arrest. He was already in control, and they argue that they had him under control. This was a woman, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, she aimed her car, her truck, and she went right after these officers. Don't give me this, you're trying to get away. No, you're trying to run them over. And then there's two, if you like these videos, there's one taken from the front where this this ICE agent, I should say, was clearly hit. Clearly.
I just want to follow up on that point.
Well,
because that's really the crux of it, right? Either she was trying to hit them or she was trying to get away. In either of those cases, does it matter?
No, because she assaulted them. That assault is basically an attempted battery. She can threaten. She obstructed. She opposed. She insinuated herself in the middle of a federal law enforcement operation. Let's say speaking of a bank robbery, the FBI is there taking somebody into custody. And Natalie gets some crazy idea that somehow this is fair because only people of color are arrested. So Natalie gets her Subaru, whatever I shouldn't say that, drives in to basically
drive a Subaru.
No.
Well, to obstruct the thing. She does it in her protest. Guess what? The police officer, remember, it's about reasonableness. And people are saying, was it reasonable? What did these officers, these ICE agents feel? They were under attack by some lunatic in a truck who then was going to turn around and is headed towards others. What did she have in mind? Remember that Christmas event where some idiot drove through one time years ago? Yeah. It was horrible. Remember, could it be that? What if the police officer said, why didn't you stop her? Can I tell you a quick story, real quick? There was a story you had years ago of a person who was at an ATM, and he had a knife, and he was trying to open up the ATM. I don't know why, but he was trying to do it. Police officer came with a gun and said, drop it, freeze, drop the knife. And he walked over and he says, oh, I'm sorry, here. And he said, here. And the officer shot him. I mean, empty the clip, just lit him up. The jury acquitted him because the instruction was drop the knife. And he said, no, here. He was approaching the police officer. When you're involved in this thing, you have entered an arena that now you better know what you're doing. And these people want to go home to their families, and they're tired of this end of law, call of end of duty, and these memorials. They're tired of that. If you enter the world of criminality, you better know what you're doing. These people are professional. They've got guns, and society gives them a gun, and we give them also the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to paralyze them. We're not going to have some police officer wonder, should I not shoot them? What if I'm prosecuted? What if I'm sued? No, you don't have time to think that. That officer was a hero, and he was protecting us. And the next idiot who thinks they're going to be what? The next, whoever this woman, and it's sad. And you notice how they said she was a mother. She moved. She wrote poetry. She read to the blind. Who cares? Who cares? It's like remember Trayvon, whatever his name is, Trayvon
Martin.
Williams.
Yeah.
Or remember that when they showed a picture of him as a kindergartner? They're doing this because this stupid left-wing, I don't know what this is, this demented idea that the police are always wrong and the criminals always have another point of view that we have to alter. Give me a break.
Well, let me just ask you and play a little devil's advocate. If you were asked to be a prosecutor and prosecute this officer, and perhaps...
Oh, the officer. Oh.
The officer, if you're asked to do that. Some reports are that eyewitnesses say, so again, we're very down the road of hearsay, that some of the officers said, get out of here, and some said, get out of the car. And so if she was getting conflicting, instructions, and she said, well, I'll choose get out of here, then maybe, there was no... So, okay, is there a way that if you were a prosecutor, you would be able to take down this officer?
And especially if you saw body cam footage where you heard one officer saying, get out of here, and another saying...
Clayton, let's hope there's body cam. Body cam.
Yes.
When I was a prosecutor, when body cam came along, I thought, oh, no. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened. You notice how polite police are because of body cams. They're wonderful now because they know it. And not only that, anyway, that's your next channel, redacted body cams. But here's what I would do. If you really had to do something. Remember the story today where it says that he was hit by a Mexican or something, or some illegal immigrant? And
3 months earlier, and he was dragged for like 300 feet. So this same officer,
Same officer, by the way. You think I would have retired immediately. You could maybe argue that somehow this affected him. And maybe he said to somebody else, I'm going to pay somebody back for that. Or maybe, I'm going crazy here. Aside from that,
no,
you don't even have to put on a defense or prosecute. It's simple. If they, and by the way, civil case, same thing goes with that. If the family tries to sue the federal government or that officer, good luck. Good luck. Doesn't matter. There's nothing he did unreasonably. This woman was in her truck and she went after him. It wasn't the wrong person. They didn't pull the wrong, some poor guy pulled out of a crowd. This is a woman who was there barreling towards them.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to avoid emotion with this because I just want to, how you feel about someone getting shot in the face. Like, I'm not a fan of that at all. But what is the law? And, that's, I guess, at the heart of it. I think, and I'm just still kind of torn on this one question. One person in our chat room, forgive the insult here, Lionel. I know you can handle it. You're a New Yorker. But Happa Power says, the vehicle slipped on the ice, you retard. How do you know what she was trying to do?
So what? That's what happens when you're in your SUV, you moron, and you decide that you're going to go out to obstruct, and it's icy. You might find yourself in the position of not being able to stop. You might find yourself in the position of giving the incorrect impression that you're trying to hit a police officer. Oh well, those are the breaks. You Bocean, you nitwit, you twit. Let me tell you something, you inane stupex. This is this idiocy. You try going out there for one day and do what they do. And let me tell you something, you'd have to wear 4 layers of Depends because you'd soil yourself repeatedly. All these armchair quarterbacks who sit back and say, yes, but perhaps he could have wounded her. Maybe he could have winged her in the leg. Oh, give me a break. Shut up. That's
all right.
Okay. So, anyone else who's upset about this, you can be as upset as you want. The law, you say, is clear. And if you want to protest ICE, go ahead and do that. Don't use a car. Don't use any other weapons.
And don't
right?
protest ICE on ice.
I like
exactly.
That. I like that. Lionel, great to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year
Happy
to you.
New Year.
Thank you for this perspective. And you did your job, which is you made a lot of people happy in the chat room, and you pissed off a lot of people in the chat room.
Good. The truth hurts.
That's
Thank you, friends.
Can't handle the truth. Thank you, Lionel. Great to see you. Happy New Year.
All the best.